Hello from the sleepy little town of Lohals, which is on the northern tip of the island of Langeland in Denmark. It's taken me all day to get here, and on the way I was thinking about the cello videos we've been making, and I took some notes just about what it is that we're trying to accomplish here, and I got thinking about the idea of what separates the really great players from just the good players. And it often boils down to the simple fact that the great players are able simply to do more of all the things that we try to do, and it's good to sometimes just remind ourselves of what those things are. So I made a list here, and I'm going to share my thoughts with you. I think that the really great players have all had the good fortune and the wisdom to have sought out the best mentors, coaches, people to follow and to learn from in their lives, and they've been privy to some of the best information, the best traditions, and the highest quality. So that's one thing to always keep in mind. Try to seek out the best to learn from. They have always rated themselves against the playing of the greatest players, not just good players, but the greatest players, and judged themselves relentlessly to a very high standard. Great players have the finest knowledge of sources, materials, original scores, what the composer wanted. They know these things. They're not in the dark. They know more about composers and the context of their lives and where the music came from. Great players have a very fine sense of styles, stylistic treatment, what is stylistically correct. They often know much more of a composer's music than just the pieces that they are playing. And technically, moving on, I think all great players are capable of exaggerating everything they do on stage, much the way a great actor is able to exaggerate his or her mannerisms to communicate to a large audience. Great players have a large dynamic range. They're able to play louder and softer than average players. They're able to play with a wider palette of colors. They can use the bow, the voice, whatever, to achieve a greater range of colors of sound. Great players can play both faster and slower than average players. That's something we can also work on. Great players have better rhythm, really great rhythm, sense of rhythm and control of rhythmic patterns. Great string players are able to use more bow and often less bow than an average player. Great players have better articulation and more variety of articulation. Great players have more vibratos from which to choose to create those colors and moods. Great players have fantastic projection in a hall. They can reach a larger audience with their sound and with their ideas. And finally, they can connect to the audience musically in a very powerful way that leaves no one out of the musical experience, and that they can transmit their ideas musically to an audience consistently, time and again, and that's what endears them to a public and constitutes often the treasured re-engagement. So those are just a few thoughts that I wanted to share with you from this beautiful place. It's once again has to do with the objectives of all these lessons, not necessarily to teach music, but to once again give you the tools to make the progress from being good cellist to great cellist.